discussed the GBBC, for a lot of people in the more mainstream, the first time they thought about blockchain was when they heard about Bitcoin. So the first time regulators had to deal with distributed ledger technology was when they had to regulate Bitcoin. So the first thing that the Parliament did in June last year, was to amend the Anti-Money Laundering Directive to include virtual currencies, which will now mean that currencies such as Bitcoin will have to apply customer due diligence, such as know your customer type regulation. So this was the first time that the EU Parliament and the Commission have had to think about Bitcoin and also blockchain. And it has kind of colored how they approach blockchain technology more broadly, because it is then still seen as something within the financial services realm. So the Parliament in May 2016 passed a resolution on virtual currencies, but in that resolution they described all about how distributed ledger technology works and how blockchain is broader than just Bitcoin. So you can see that their understanding is slightly evolving. So that resolution was passed, and it called for the establishment of a task force within the Commission to examine how not only virtual currencies work, but also more broadly how blockchain works and how it may impact on regulation in different areas. So the Commission is now working on this task force. It started in January this year, and it's supposed to have policy recommendations coming out by the summer. Now, it is likely from speaking with some of the Commission officials involved that this is not likely to be full regulation. It's more likely that they'll come out with a communication that will outline a series of areas that they have concerns in, and then some policy recommendations. So the task force is staffed and is headed by someone within the Financial Services Director General, TG Visma, but there are people involved with consumer protection, data protection, and competition backgrounds. So it's likely that it's these type of concerns is what they're looking at. One thing to note, I was quite interesting, it was a little line in the resolution said that they were also thinking of developing standards for stress tests for blockchain applications that have a systemic importance. So for example, if blockchain becomes widely used in land registries, it's quite possible that the European Commission might develop a standard of stress tests to be used for that type of technology. So there may still be regulation to come. One other thing to note is that in the US, a lot of our colleagues in Covington have been working on this too, and one of the observations they've made, there's developing a bit of a turf war between different regulators over who should have jurisdiction to evaluate blockchain, because obviously blockchain having so many different applications, there'll be different regulators who will try to impose different rules in it. Primarily financial services, but also, I mean, it has applications like smart contracts, land registries, trade finance, and in each of these application areas, there will be different associations and also regulators who will come out communication with different rules. So further down the line, we think there could be quite a serious problem of regulatory turf wars, and also blockchain companies encountering different regulations in different areas and struggling to comply with all of them. But this is something for down the line. For right now, I think the Commission is very much in a learning mode. They're seeing apparently a lot of academics come in to speak with them now so they can better understand blockchain before they come out with this communication later this year. So in a nutshell, that's where we are in Europe. It's actually a very good time to engage to explain how blockchain could be used for the positive and the innovation aspects of it.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Wait a second. We have one. Ken, wait a second. Can we have two? Can we have the time?
Sure. For what question?
We have two.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Maybe you come here.
Yes.
Yeah.
So my question is actually, you must know about the Danish part of the point of the view regarding virtual currencies related to the rest of the EU, right? Or not?
Probably not.
I mean, the point is here. My question would be that this regulative of 2015 related to the overall EU and related to money laundering and so on, it is based on virtual currencies as a definition. But the fact that Denmark does not yet consider virtual currencies as a digital currency the general point of view, at least with the people in Denmark who's heard a little about it, they say as long as France and Germany disagree, in some points related all of this virtual currencies, the rest of the EU will actually have to wait, and Denmark can actually do what they want. And I just wanted to add that because it sounds as if everything is basically all, cleared out and all dandy, yeah. But Denmark stands still as the liberal country in the world, almost, yeah. I mean, there's not many countries in the world who actually has the standpoint that Denmark has on virtual currencies. Okay.
Yep.
Yes, you're right. That was actually one of the few contentious debates when they were having the virtual currency resolution. And I'm going to read for you the first line of that resolution, which speaks to the debate. It said, members recalled that virtual currencies, bracket, a universally applicable definition has not yet been established. And this is, so there was a huge debate about the definition of virtual currencies when they were doing this resolution. And in fact, there was 51 keys voted against the virtual currencies resolution on that basis, specifically because different countries have interpreted the scope of virtual currencies differently. I will say it's an ongoing discussion, and I don't think it's going to be solved with that resolution, but the Commission is looking into that as part of its task force.
It's also perhaps worth mentioning that the founding member in Denmark is someone called Lars Rasmussen, who I'm not sure if you're familiar with him or not, but he's one of the co-founders of Google Maps. So he's helping us on the ground there in order to see how we can tackle some of these issues.
I have a question about the. Sorry, yeah. Oh, a question is about risk management relative to blockchain, because if the definition of what it is and how it should be regulated and when it should be considered a currency versus a transporter of data, do you think that if someone is about to start a new system or a universe, if you will, and considers blockchain alongside other technologies for storage and data interchange, is there a risk that one should be aware of, that suddenly you could find yourself with an IoT data exchange being regulated as if it was a financial services, even though you're not talking about a currency and an exchange between fiat currencies and whatever it is that you are using your system to make payments for?
The short answer is unfortunately yes, there is a risk.
No.
I would say in this regard that the US is slightly more advanced than the EU. So the Federal Reserve Board is actively monitoring whether certain blockchain applications could be considered falling under different definitions. And they regularly issue communications with regard to different blockchain innovations that are coming on the line. In the EU, they've been a lot less on the ball and a lot less I guess, aware of the new developments. So I think the US is the first place to look, and based on that, I think they're going to look in a lot of detail at specific innovations. They're not taking a broad look, they're often making decisions on a one-to-one basis. So because they're being so specific in how they decide these things, there is a risk one day that they will slightly amend the definitions.
Okay.
I think the EU will be further down the line though.
So we will have to trust their good judgment. Lord help us.
No, you intervene. You intervene, you don't trust.
Yeah.
Okay, Ken, have
Yeah, I would definitely go for the intervention over trusting them.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks to both of you and to Covington for joining us today. We appreciate it, and look forward to engaging with you in the future on blockchain-related issues. Thanks so much.
Yes.
Thanks so much. Take care. Bye.
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 All right. Okay, I suggest what we do now is take a short break,